What a win for the Huskies. 77-69 over Marquette. One of the biggest regular season wins in the Dan Hurley era. You're Locked On Live.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we dive into today's show, I want to thank all of you, the hundreds of you that are watching this live, the thousands of you that have downloaded this podcast. We really appreciate your support. We're proud to say we're the only daily podcast covering the UConn men's and women's basketball, the hoops capital of the world, and we're thrilled to bring you the coverage you deserve. So to show that gratitude, we're giving back. We're donating 10% of our revenue to Husky Ticket Project, helping send kids to UConn games. Maybe some of our money sent 80 kids to the UConn hockey game today, so at Excel Center. So hopefully they did well there. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Husky Nation, what an incredible statement win. UConn just went into one of the toughest environments in the Big East, walked into Fiserv Forum, and took down the ninth-ranked Shaka Smart-led Marquette Golden Eagles 77-69. This was the biggest. This was the Big East basketball that we look for because it was physical, but they weren't calling a lot of cheap fouls, which I have no problem with. You didn't hear a peep of me talking about that on X. Really trying to focus in on the game, but you got to talk about Solo Ball. The dude was on an absolute mission. He's an unbelievable sniper. Before we get into his stats, I have to shout out Jared Kotler of Connecticut Scoreboard Podcast because he said with Solo having another dominant game with a double-double, he had 25 points and 10 rebounds on 7 of 9 from three. And most of those threes were, if not all, were hand and face, big-time threes. Not Dan Hurley runs great action. He's wide open. I think one shot was wide open. His comment, I laughed, and it's 100% true. Let's see who the Big East gives Player of the Week to because they can't keep giving it to Solo, or maybe they can. Solo Ball was Freshman of the Year, Freshman of the Week every week last year. So it should be an evergreen award potentially for Solo if he keeps giving you 20 and 10 every day. Ice cold, fearless, exactly what UConn needed with a few guys limited and no Liam McNeeley. Game time decision, he was held out. Great decision. Works out fantastic for Dan Hurley. He gets another week of just medical attention for Liam, getting that ankle ready to go for the St. John's game. They just know I'm coming, so they want to make sure Liam's at his full strength. That's probably what it is. Probably not. Alex Karaban, steady as ever, 15 points, 5 boards, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. When the game slowed down, you need a guy who could hit big free throws, and Karaban was money. Samson Johnson was money from the free throw line, perfect from the field, and didn't miss a free throw. Perfect from the game. I'm almost positive. I will double check the box score, but I'm pretty sure he didn't miss a shot tonight. Loved his presence inside. The efficiency was huge. Jay Stu got us off a strong start, had 9 quick points at the beginning of the game with the 3 threes, something about Marquette maybe. And never overlook Hassan, the General Diarra. The dude is an absolute beast. He wasn't even close to 100%. I think he was more like 50%, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. As good a defense as he could play when he was hobbled. The team nearly shot 60% from the field, 63% from 3, and almost 80% from the free throw line. Yeah, we're an 8 seed. Might want to check your brackets after this game, my friends. Defensively, the Huskies held Marquette to under 40% shooting and just 31% from deep. Cam Jones got his 22, but it took 20 shots. That's exactly what you want. But what might be the biggest story is UConn weathered the storm. Marquette made run after run after run. Even with 25 turnovers, they found a way to win and respond to Marquette as they tried to come back. So UConn moves to 8-3 in the Big East, 16-6 overall, firmly in the hunt for the top spot. Don't even care about that as much, but more importantly, this team is proving that when they lock in, execute, and hit shots, they can beat anyone. Husky Nation, let's talk about it. Let's bring in our boys as usual. Let's bring in, where are we at? Dan Meehan of Exit 68 and Tyler Remick. Let's get you guys unmuted because I do that all the time. And let's go. Let's go in order. Dan, talk to me, brother.
So I don't know if you can see my shirt. Is it clear enough?
Oh, yeah.
Let me
you got to
pan
get up a
down
little
there.
bit. Repeat, yeah.
Yeah. because that's back on. Sorry, I was a little nippy tonight. It's a little cold in Connecticut. I had to wrap myself in this beautiful Connecticut flag. Three-peat back on. Win of the season. Statement game. Second straight AP top 10 win for UConn. That's I think that's the first time since 08-09 they said at the end of the broadcast. 77-69, career high for solo ball, aka the best shooter in America. People got a little down beginning of the season when we lost Kobe Bryant in the transfer portal. Fear not, Husky faithful, because we officially have the best shooter in the country. The man is an absolute savage. He's a sniper. He was the best player on the court tonight. Just growing up before our eyes. We couldn't get that guy enough shots. More shot clock violations for the Huskies. Can't seem to figure it out under 10 seconds. If I see Samson Johnson at the top of the key with the ball in his hands with 7 seconds to go one more time, I'm going to gouge my eyes out.
With the way he shoots free throws, he should shoot a 3 at this point when he's up there. Why not?
He did. Once again, the guy did not miss a shot from the field. I think he's got you can count on one hand how many times that guy has missed one field goal from the field the entire season. Like, he is an efficient nightmare. 13 points on the night. Terrace Reed I thought was awesome in the first half, and they just he gets into not too much foul trouble, but I think they just wanted to go with the more trustworthy option in the second half, and Samson, who's been a warrior lately. Just an awesome game. But UConn clearly the better team. Like 25 turnovers. They hold Marquette to under 40% shooting, and UConn. I didn't know if the shooting was going to keep up in the second half. UConn goes 56, 50, 100 splits in the first half, and they finish even better at 60, 63, 80. Are you kidding me? Against hold on, 19th ranked defensive team in the country without our arguable best player. Three-peat back on, baby. Let's go.
Tyler, before you go, I'm going to respond to Davo here. I made some unbelievable chicken parm today. I won't lie to you. And that was like, listen, I won't be at my house on Friday because I will be in stores on February 7th. I'll be outside of Ted's with a big sign. Come get interviewed. Talk to me about Ben Gordon if you were there when he was on campus, or you just have a memory about him. And also, love to hear from the fans. Hope we get some alumni in the mix. We're gonna do some good, cool content, and then we're gonna hopefully get another UConn dub against the Johnnies. Tyler, what you see?
Yeah, so I think, well, most importantly, I think this is a huge confidence builder, right? Especially how the last several, 6, 7, 8 games have gone. Solo shot making was insane. I mean, that dude, we know he's an elite shooter, but then he's not. The shots he's just making are just insane. Like, guys are like right in his face. He's coming off screens. Late in the clock, they're just throwing it to him. He's quickly twitching his feet and squaring to the basket and just letting it rip. But yes, I mean, today's game it was all just about shot making. This is what wasn't when they beat Xavier and Xavier was making all those crazy shots. It wasn't like that. But UConn definitely made some, like Alex made that one footer with the shot clock expiring. We expect to see this from Solo. We don't expect him to go 7 from 9 every night, but we do, 4 for 9, 5 for 9. But it was an exceptional night. The rebounding at times I thought was a little tough. You look at the box score, you're going to see UConn out rebounded them, but you got to remember rebounding is a function of your field goal percentage. I think UConn shot 60% from the field. And Marquette shot what? 40% of the field? Right. So you're going to have more when you're on defense, you're going to have more opportunities to rebound. You should be in rebounding position. So you really should look at the offensive rebounds as a better indicator of who's actually, winning the rebounding. And I think UConn lost that battle. So it's really kind of surprising to me. They lost they got less offensive rebounds and 21 turnovers, 25 team turnovers, and they still won that game. So yeah, it was really just, exceptional shot making. At clutch times. I thought Stewart looked really good in the first half. I missed the first 10 minutes. But yeah, he was making nice passes. Alex, his line score looked great, but he didn't, the last 6 games, it's probably been the worst 6-game stretch of his season. So I'm really hoping this just generally for the entire team that these last 8 games without Liam was necessary grinding. And the hope is that maybe when he comes back, everyone kind of has to do a little bit less. and then we see like a big step forward. I think that's the real hope for this team, is that there's a lot of development that has happened that we don't always see, and or it's not as salient to us. Hopefully that'll become like more obvious once Liam comes back. And then Terrace was awesome in the first half, and he didn't get as much burn in the second half, right?
So it's either or, like Barris, not Terrace,
Barris.
or Samson. I mean, it is really just an incredible kind of combination, and they really kind of played. They did what Dan Hurley wanted them to do, which is essentially make it difficult for Marquette, have them try to finish at the rim, because they feel like they had that advantage and I'm going to get into this positionless defense before we get into the first break, and then maybe get Joey Belbonts in here and anyone else that wants to jump on a call. Before I go to the break, this question, I know the answer to it. UConn players ever made 7 threes. Ray Allen was 9 of 14 from 3. That's the record. So 9 threes is the record.
I think solo ball,
not surprising.
After tonight's performance, solo ball might have the highest single season 3-point percentage in the history of UConn. Ray Allen had, I think it was 46 point something. Second was Cam last year. After tonight's performance, Solo might be the solo leader.
Solo went listen against DePaul. The first game at DePaul. Yeah.
I want to talk about this, and then I'm going to take a quick break. Listen, I love UConn fans. I love all of you to a certain extent. Maybe not all of you, but mostly all of you. Guys, Alex needs to drive more to the lane. You don't understand what that does. It may not look pretty, but he's got to be assertive. If all he does is go around the 3-point line, his game becomes predictable. This is not a good take. I'm sorry. It's just not. He needs to go to the hole more, because he's big. He's 6'8". He's 240 pounds. The dude needs to essentially assert himself more. And he did in the second half, and he ended up with 15 points. It was a fantastic second half. The first half, he struggled. I'm sorry. I disagree with that. 1,000%.
Played another 40 minutes tonight. Every single minute of the game.
Warrior.
El Capitan.
Okay. Real quick, I'm going to take a quick break, give our advertisers their money's worth, and then we'll come back and get to your calls. We'll get to Joey first, and then we'll put the link in the chat coming up after this. Sorry, guys. This is a live show, so I'm not as smooth with it. Here we go. It is Prize Picks. Prize Picks, my friends. I've used them many times. Actually, it's TurboTax. Let's go to TurboTax. That's your boy's fault here. And there's no ad for TurboTax. So taxes, I just did mine. They're a pain in the ass. Like, honestly, TurboTax is the most fantastic thing that you could possibly do. My wife struggled to do her taxes. She used TurboTax. She actually paid the extra money to get an agent to come on. It was like $60. Helped her. I think her refund was close to like $6,000. So it really helped, because if she didn't, I think last year she didn't use TurboTax, and there was like multiple times where they reject you. I don't know why taxes are so complicated, but they are, especially if you're even if when you do a simple tax, when you add kids in it, you add your healthcare, all of that, it can really be a bear. So really try to focus on if you can get TurboTax. If you need it, definitely use it. Would love for you guys to check that out. And I'm sure there is a call to action. Let's see if we have it here. And you can do experts on TurboTax.com, only available with TurboTax Live, full service, real-time updates, only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantee. All right, let's get the boys back in here and add Joey. What's up, brother? How we doing?
What's up, man? Hey, it's a great game, huh?
Absolutely, man. What was your thoughts? I know we texted a little bit, but what you got?
What thoughts? They let them play tough. I mean, you saw it. Like they played physical on defense, and honestly, it was a low foul game for most of the first and second half on UConn. Anyways, they played tougher, and that's really what showed in that command lead. And I really commend the offense and a lot of the players stepping up in the first half when we had a 20-point lead with
22.
22,
yeah. 20-point lead with both our point guards, especially our guard, like our ball handling heavy guards, like basically being foul trouble. So it was really impressive. I know they battled back. They're a tough team. And even Marquette's a very good defensive team. And I forget the player's name, but he led the 5 steals I think he had in the game.
Steve Mitchell,
amazing. I mean, it was a quality win that we needed, and they stepped up right at the right time, and that's how UConn does. I mean, listen, they figure it out. There's no scarier team to play when it comes to March. Don't let us get hot. Like what Hurley said, get us now because we're coming. And
The Big E still runs through stores.
of course, we're still the champs until we're not. Back to
John
back.
Fanta, this tweet from John Fanta, UConn has now won 9 straight games over top 10 opponents.
That's right.
Primetime performers.
Wow, look at these numbers, bro. I'm about to throw a little cash on it. Plus 4,500 to win the Natty. Are you effing serious? You better get it in today because those numbers are going to drop tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wow, plus 1,000 to make the Final Four. I may throw a couple shekels on that.
I mean, you have to. We can't bet on UConn and Connecticut, so you gotta drive to Mass.
I got my men and women's bet before I moved back to Connecticut. Plus 8,500 for the double Natty.
Oh yeah, let's go.
I put that in too.
You know, fun fact is Pat Riley owns the trademark for three-peat.
I'm very aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm very aware.
This shirt is not for sale, Pat. Don't come after me. I don't want to deal with the Godfather.
No.
No, that dude will take you by the woodshed.
Solo was balling tonight, and I knew it. I was like, listen, if Mark, you would have talked for the game a little bit, but if you would have asked me what it took for UConn to win, I was like, Solo ball making 7 threes. Because I looked it up. So I sent you those stats the other day. I looked up how many ball I had and what the record was. He shot 7. This is the second game. He shot 7, made 7 threes. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's amazing.
It's like every game. He in the beginning of the season, he was jacking, and he still is, but he doesn't have bad shooting nights anymore. Like he had a 10 or 11 rebounds tonight too. Like helped us. We haven't had many games. Never mind against a top 10 AP team where we're winning the rebounding battle. UConn was plus 10 on the boards tonight. He was the difference in that regard. Like
the confidence too. I mean, you're seeing it.
He's been our best player. He's been our best player for like a 10-game stretch now.
100%. And it's nice seeing that all the recruits from the previous years are playing, except for the center. But yeah, they're getting valuable minutes and they're playing quality minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been 50% or better from 3 in 11 of the games. What's the record? They're 16-6.
Mm-hmm.
So literally half the games he's been 50% or better.
And also taking deeper threes is good. I mean, listen, like some of those shots, I mean, we can shoot. Like, hey, take a deeper 3 if you need to. I would take that over trying to like force it. But hey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the biggest thing to me was let's talk about this positionless basketball because we got a lot of people that are wanting to jump in and give their 2 cents. But dude, hold on. I gotta get. I'm not gonna get him in here because the guy's a douchebag. But this guy Joe, who like talked a bunch of like on the show earlier, and I mute him and told him to peace out.
That's when I was like, calm down.
Yeah, this dude's been Instagram messaging me like a girl, like DMing me, like sliding in my DMs, like talking all this crap. He's been sending me voice messages that I don't listen to all of them. So I listen to like the first 10 seconds and then I like get rid of it. So I kind of restrict him. And every once in a while, I'm like, what does this loser have to say? So he's been talking about like, he's like, oh, if UConn doesn't get it together and they do all the things they normally do, Marquette could beat them by 30. This is what he had to say. Shocker. Also a Duke fan, by the way, that I found out. So not surprising.
Troll.
My man, we're 2-0 against you in the Final Four. Yeah. Have a great time with Cooper Flag when you guys lose in the Sweet 16 to someone because they have seniors. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Positionless basketball. Dan Hurley has talked about how he was like this team when he started to realize that Aiden wasn't the backup point guard that he thought he was, right? Mm-hmm. They started talking about hey, what if we have a situation where Jayden, Jalen Store, Solo, and Alex, and then a center. And this is when or through Liam in there, right? So any one of those combinations. This is when we were talking about when Dave Borges came on the show. We were talking about the types of lineups they could have when they were healthy, and they could have like Alex at the 5, Jay Stu at the 4, Jay Ross, and then all of a sudden you're a big team. You're not short at the point guard because they don't need like a traditional point guard to run this offense. Obviously, you saw what a diminished Haas happens tonight with him against Stevie Mitchell because he had a hard time, just getting by him. But I think for a stretch of about 4 minutes, Dan Hurley was like in heaven. Him and Luke were probably like, you see what this team can do when we lock in. That combination of Jay Stu, Jay Ross, with Jay Ross kind of initiating offense a little bit, and Jay Stu as well, and Solo and Alex, and then either Samson or Terrace. That was amazing. That 4 minutes of basketball was the best basketball they played all year, even the Gonzaga game, because it was crisp. They were playing good defense. They were getting out. They were getting threes. They were going to the basket. Tyler was in the in a chat with me, and we was talking about great job initiating kind of like backdoor cuts. Like, it's just, that's what I want to see from this team going forward. A mixture of that with Liam involved when he gets back, obviously.
That was the best first half I've seen UConn play probably all year.
This is a massive indictment on Marquette as a national title contender. UConn was minus 17 in the turnover margin tonight. I don't know how they won this game by 9 points. Well, I do, because it's one of the top 5 offenses in the country, and Solo Ball is the best shooter in the country. But like, we come to your house in front of your fans. This was the highest amount of people in attendance in the history of a Marquette basketball game. By the way, UConn still moves the needle. We are the needle. We come to your house. We got Andre Jackson, the man that ran everywhere, and the savage that is Cam Spencer sitting right behind the UConn bench, providing some NBA level intensity. And we kick your butt when we don't have our A game without our best player. I don't know how you feel about UConn going forward. People that call in, national media, don't let this team be a 7 or 8 seed. You're asking for it. I promise. The Big East still comes through stores. We'll see you there Friday night.
Wire to
I'll
wire
be there.
too. Marquette never led.
Be there too.
UConn kept taking blows. Marquette was given these jabs all game long. First half, I think UConn dominated until they were up 22 with 2.5 minutes to go, until that 9-0 run to end the half, which was annoying. But UConn just wouldn't back down. Marquette just kept jabbing back. They were playing well defensively, but UConn just kept answering. They kept coming back. The shot making was elite, and they win this game by 9 against a top 10 AP opponent. Like, I don't know if you were a UConn fan coming into this game. I said that they were going to win this one, and they did. But this was like a super encouraging win for all Husky fans.
Without a doubt. All right, let's get some dudes in here. Joe, you can stay on. I have no problem. We'll have like a little 5-way. I don't give a shit. Bernie, what up?
What a win. That might be the most impressive win I've seen this season for this team. It reminds me of the only other game they had against Texas, where they completely dominated from beginning to end against that team. But this was unbelievable. The heart of this team is insane. They shot 60% from the field and had 25 turnovers. I mean, come on, guys. We have to do this. Come on. Give me a U. Give me a C. Give me an O.
Oh!
Give me an N. Give me an N. UConn. Woo!
I'm not drunk enough for that yet, Bernie. But
what's interesting is I never thought they were going to lose the game. Even before the game was played, I never thought they were going to lose the game. That's how confident I was with this team. And I think the booing that happened against DePaul really did something to this team. They were ticked off, and they came out and they handed it to Marquette. They handed to them, and Marquette, like usual.
You know what I would say? I honestly think I have a different take on that, because I think people have said that, but let me tell you something. I think having Cam and Andre was a huge motivating factor for that team. Listen, I've played sports. Like, if I had a guy, if I had an old upperclassman that I looked up to that won a championship, and they're sitting in the stands watching us, and we played like crap for most of the year against like tougher opponents. Not really, but you know what I mean? Like, we come like we played like crap against DePaul, and like we just had these moments where it didn't look like we were like giving effort. Dude, none of those guys looked like they were lacking. Like, there were a couple mental lapses, but for the most part, those guys gave everything. Dan got pissed at them one time in that huddle, and it was great. He was like, after all we've been through, how are they more desperate than us? That got me all fired up, right? But like outside of that, like I think outside of that blip, those guys were like, yo, Cam is here. Like, that is a huge, and most of them know Andre, because obviously he's a UConn family, but like most of those dudes played with Cam last year. That had to be a big lift.
Yeah, when you're playing with desperation, and guess what, everybody? It's February. And this is the time when UConn starts getting going. It's February, and every single team out there needs to realize, UConn just beat a top 10 team on the road in one of the toughest places to win. They beat the number 9 team in the country. They've won 4 straight against Marquette. They won 3 games last year, and they won tonight. They've won 4 in a row against this Marquette team that's supposedly one of the best teams in the country. Guess what? UConn beat you again for the 4th straight time.
Hurley, as he walked off the court tonight, yelled to the crowd, "We ain't dead yet."
No, this team is certainly not dead. And listen, I saw that St. John's game against Providence, and the St. John's is legit. I will give St. John's credit. That is a very good team, but they can't make a free throw for their lives. They missed so many free throws in that game. It was insane. See, every single game today in the Big East was insane. The Creighton game where that 80-year-old Ashworth hit a 3 off the side of the backboard to win it over Villanova. I mean, I would have thought he would already be collecting Social Security, and he's still playing basketball. It was insane.
He just had a child a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he just had a baby.
Oh my God.
Bernie,
yes.
I'm gonna. We have so many people waiting. I'm gonna.
Okay, but let me just do my.
Go ahead, finish up.
Okay, Mark, you're the best. Are you gonna be at that Villanova game on the 18th?
Dude, of course. You think I bought you a ticket and I'm not gonna show up? Of course, dude. I'm not. I'm there.
I can't wait to you a ticket.
I'm in. I'll have media passes. So, but 1,000%. I will.
Okay, I can't wait to meet you.
Come see you before the game or after.
Yeah, Tyler, it's nice to see you again. It's been a while since you haven't been on, but it's nice to see you. Joey Bail Bonds, you rock. I love the name. I got to give me a name like yours because it's so much fun to call somebody Bail Bonds. And of course, Dan Meehan. All right, guys, have a great night and go chicken parm.
Let's go chicken parm, baby. Bernie, bring in the fire, bro.
So, quick little stat for you.
Go ahead.
The UConn single season record for 3 points. 3-pointers made is by Ray Allen in 95-96 with 115. Solo ball, if this team plays 35 games, will break that record at his current pace.
I mean, brother,
not
let's
bad.
get some other
not
dudes
bad
in
company.
Here. Tim, what's got Tim?
Boys, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Gotcha.
Boys, that was a great win. Amazing. I love it. One of the things I wanted to talk about that I haven't really heard you guys talk about is switching 1 through 5. I've been clamoring for that. We keep trying to fight over these picks, and all these people are driving us to the hole because we can't get over the pick fast enough. We were switching 1 through 5, forcing tough shots, forcing tough threes. Oh, God, it was beautiful to watch. I was like, this was amazing. And obviously the shot making was incredible. Solo is amazing. And it just shows the talent that we have that's ready to go. And like when Liam gets back, another ball handler, which we clearly need with all the turnovers, and another guy besides, honestly, him and Diarra are the only 2 I really trust to take it completely to the lane and make a good decision with it. Karaban, and I would say Karaban too. He needs to drive a little bit more also, but I think that those 3 ball handlers and us switching 1 through 5 because of the athleticism of Sampson, I think that changes the game, baby. I think it changes the game.
I thought tonight that was like their best 40-minute performance of the season. They've played other good games, but like Marquette, that's a really good team. Like their ball denial is so elite. It was tough to get like the dribble handoffs at 30 feet from the basket. They had some instances where they were playing well in inbound situations. It was tough for UConn to get it across half court. Mahaney had a couple of rough turnovers in the second half. Just super active hands. Karaban couldn't even get into the lane off the dribble late in the game. He coughed the ball up. But Hassan Diarra is clearly playing hurt, like a total warrior. Gave them everything he could tonight defensively. He got worked a little bit, like on the defensive end late in that game. But I don't know what else you want from that guy. There was no other option with Ahmad Noel unable to play tonight.
Yeah.
But just
He's
a total
warrior.
total 40-minute effort. Like UConn did not waver. They kept getting, not punched in the mouth, but like Marquette was giving it to them and kept swinging away late in that second half. And UConn just kept coming back. I thought it was super impressive.
Want to put this out there, and then I want to hear from Tyler, because Tyler, I was interested in hearing your the analytical side of this, because I feel like UConn's defensive efficiency is going to rise from this game, and also their offensive efficiency is going to go through the roof because they had an incredible offensive efficient game. But before we do that, I got to give Joey Belbon's his brother Ryan Sports Bar and Grill some pub here. If you can't make it to the game next Friday, or you're ever not able to go to a game live, check out Ryan Sports Bar, 485 Hartford Road in Manchester. Obviously, Joey's a huge UConn fan, season tickets. His brother Ryan is too. So make sure you guys get out to the sports bar there and check it out. I'm going to try to when I'm up this weekend, I'm going to try to get to it just to check it out, because I'll be close, obviously, and we're going to pick up the sign in Manchester. God, where do we go? I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna ask Tyler that question again, and then I'm gonna look up the company that's hooking me up with the sign. I want to give them some love too. Tyler, what do you think this team is going? If they keep doing that, do you think they get inside, just based off of how KenPom works? Where they were 125 defensively. If they
125, they're 118 after this game.
Okay, if they keep at that pace and they keep doing what they did tonight, Tyler, do you think that they get to top 90? I think my tracker was, if they get inside the top 90, this team has a real chance to win a national championship.
So I'm not. I know there has been a cutoff for defense.
The cutoff is not. It's not that. But I'm saying, for me personally, I think because of how bad they started. Because of how bad they started, not because of any historical evidence of that. I just feel like with the way this offense has been able to run, then you add Liam into the mix again, fully healthy. If they get inside that top 90, maybe even top 80, how many games do you think it would take? Even David, Dan, you can answer that question too. I'm just curious, if that's something you think is possible.
They've hovered around 130 for 2 to 3 weeks now, without Liam. They're jump up.
Or the year before, make the Final Four with. Didn't Bama with the Final Four make it with that 90? I think
they hovered
90. They were 96,
around
I think,
100.
and they were before the Final Four. They were 103. So it's it's not unprecedented that you make it, but to win it, you got to be. Historically, it's got to be top 20. I think that's what it's been.
Top 20, 30-ish. You want to be top 10 in both, just to be safe. That's historically has been a really good indicator for a national champion. But UConn, the 2 championships they won in 2011 and 2014 are 2 of the worst KenPom performing teams historically that have ever won a national championship. So if UConn, they're at 1-8, they were at 126 before the game. They're top 11 offense. They're 34th overall in KenPom. So they jumped up 8 slots defensively. Once they get Liam back, if they can even get into crack the top 90, that means they're probably playing at a top 50 defensive level. If they finish the season,
that's what I'm asking Tyler. Real quick, I want to hear from Tyler real quick, because Tyler, for me, do you think if they play well enough where they start to kind of descend or ascend into the defensive rankings in that top 90, that likely means that they're playing, as Dan said, at a higher level defensively, and maybe those numbers of being top 20 really don't matter. Is that you think that's possible?
Well, yeah. So I think I'm not super familiar with how KenPom weights it throughout the season. I think Bart Torvik, his rankings, I think you can actually filter for dates and just measure efficiency over a certain date range. So if they're doing better, obviously if their defense is performing better now than it was earlier in the season, then there's going to be any metric that weights all games equally is going to be biased towards earlier in the season. But anything that weights things over time, I do think KenPom does have a weighting mechanism where they do weight last 10 games and last 5 games. Yeah. So
that's what I want. That's what I want to start tracking, honestly. Those are the things I want to start from this moment on to the end of the season. I want to see where they rank in the defensive rankings, because it feels like this was an inflection point where they took it. They have taken the next step, and I think that is worth kind of talking about. I've been trying to get the plus minus numbers from some the beat reporters that are in Milwaukee. Let's see.
UConn,
It's
just
crazy how
while
that's
you're
not
looking that up.
readily available.
I got it. These are the plus minus numbers for the UConn game. So people in the plus: Jalen Stewart was +9, Alex Karaban +8, Samson +9, Solo +8, Haas +7, Aiden +3, Terrace -1, Jayden Ross -3. So and
That's incredible, though.
Can we shout out Samson Johnson and how amazing he has been playing, not fouling out,
He's
playing,
so
stepping up. Like that's really where it comes from. Yeah,
didn't miss a shot.
He's so
He's totally fixed the fouling issue.
Yep.
Like for a 10-game stretch, not just recently. Like it's been a while since that has been an issue for us.
And he hits his free
he had
throws.
3
He's
fouls,
shooting
Harris
like 75%.
3 fouls, but still, like he's playing.
Samson was
minutes and making
49% from the free throw line this year. Like Tim said, he's shooting 30 percentage points better almost. It's incredible.
One more last thing before I go.
Go ahead.
Do you
Go
guys
ahead,
think they continue the switching going
do.
forward? Maybe not 1 through
1000%.
5, but maybe 1 through 4.
No, I think they do.
That you got something there.
I think they do because what they've kind of thought is like, look, when you hedge that hard and like the trailer is trying that's where they've kind of gotten into some trouble where like Jay Ross is coming in and oh my god, like every time like you saw Alex on the TV saying don't jump, like don't go for fakes. So like that's the thing is like it's I think they figured it out. Like these guys, Terrace is athletic enough. How about that trail block when they were really cooking on Terrace? So like he's got that ability. I feel like Samson overexerts himself sometimes where they have to bring Terrace in because that's where Samson starts getting more foul happy. But I'm going to shout out my cousin's husband, Chris Smith, the patron saint of UConn swag. He mentioned this tweet or said this tweet, and I think it's 1,000% correct. The code of UConn of Big East refereeing is you do not get calls on the ball, but you get a ton of calls at the rim. So to Tyler's point a long time ago, where we need to start getting to the rim so we can get more fouls called on us, like that's where Samson and Terrace get a ton of their fouls is when guys go at them and they even if the rules of verticality they don't get broken, the Big East refs are more, they're more likely to call a foul on that versus like Stevie Mitchell constantly hitting Haas on his arms and not getting any calls because he just has that defensive, I'm a defensive stopper, and Haas does the same thing. So like that's the thing is these guys like Solo has figured it out. I'm going to go to the hole more. Jayden Ross that made a great play today, fadeaway jump shot like at the end of the shot clock. These guys that need to get to the hoop more. It'll open up more.
You saw it late in the second half. Karaban like gets the ball ripped from him at the top of the key at the end of the shot clock, but then goes to the hoop a couple possessions later and gets a foul call. Like you have, even if you're not getting to the rim successfully, you have to continue to attack the basket to try to get some of these calls and keep the refs honest. Like make them keep the whistle in their mouth and make them make a decision. It's the same thing in baseball. Like put the ball in play, make a call.
We've had over 400 people in that are watching this. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to download the podcast, please. I'm happy to do a bunch of shout outs for Joey, for his brother's bar, but why we can do that is because you guys keep watching the podcast and downloading it and everything like that. So make sure you take care of your boys here who work really hard to get on this show and give you the content you deserve. Before we get to our final, or maybe not final, hey Tim, by the way, thanks for jumping on, man. I had to drop you for a second. I'm gonna do one more ad. Joey, you can stay on or you don't. I'm not forcing you, man. Like it's up to you. I'm gonna do one more quick ad, and we will come back from the break and close out the show. Talk right after. The one thing about live shows, man, the transition is never smooth, but that's all right. We'll be right back.
Get it together.
Shut up. I'm gonna keep you on if you're not quiet. All right. Who is our next sponsor? We're about to find out. Let's get this banner off. Yes, and then let's go to my trusty notes as Dan takes a swig from his big drink. Let's go to our boys at FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. I'm sure everyone's super excited about that. If you're not an Eagles or a Chiefs fan, do you really care about this game? But if you're betting on it, one game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel, America's favorite sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. Live betting all game long. You can adjust your bets as the game unfolds. and feel the thrill from the kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's the icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's get everyone back in here. Final few people on the show. Let's make sure everyone's not muted. Although we may mute Dan, but that's all right. We'll keep him on.
I'll just
all right. You should shrink. What's your takeaways? Tyler, what's your first takeaway? We'll go to Joey, and then we'll go to Dan, and then we'll get OK in here. And then Steve.
Yeah, I just think this is a confidence builder game. I think they can't get they can't lose focus, right? This team still just needs to stack wins. This is a huge win. But then at the end of the day, they got another huge opportunity next week with they're home for St. John's, right? Is that Tuesday or Wednesday?
Friday.
And then they go to Creighton. So they win these next two games, they could really catapult themselves, as far as seeding. So they can't, just kind of staying focused and getting this next one, just one game at a time and just stacking W's.
Joey?
Just playing toughness, playing good D, and making shots. I mean, that's really what's going to come down to. It's going to come down through our big men staying out of foul trouble and us making our 3-pointers. That's UConn's go-to.
Daniel?
UConn sloppy as hell with the ball tonight. 25 turnovers for Marquette was not enough. UConn wins the game by 9 points somehow through shot making, through grit, through playing 40 minutes, through having Cam and Andre, our boys, behind the bench. If we take away anything from this game, it is that this roster and the way that it's assembled is enough. These guys can go out and still win the Big East championship. They went to Milwaukee tonight, played it in an away stadium in front of almost 20,000 people.
Yep.
It kind of kicked Marquette's ass, right?
They took their soul, bro. They snatched their soul.
I don't know what Marquette does after this one to feel good about playing UConn again at MSG. So table setting going into next Friday against who is sitting solely in the one slot in the Big East standings now, St. John's. I think the first time since like 90-91 they're in first place this deep in the season, the Big East standings. That is going to be the game of the season. Rick Pitino coming to Gamble, coming to Stores. Joey, Mark, we'll see you at Ted's Bar, 3 p.m. early, interviewing the crowd. We'll see you there, Husky faithful. I can't wait.
I will. Well, we're not done, dude. Chill out. You trying to go? That was like signing off.
Like, all right,
No, so,
all right, I'll stay and hang out.
I'll stay right here. I think my takeaway is they missed 10 free throws. They had 25 turnovers. And here's the thing: they weren't lucky to win. It was a great win. You had some factors, and I before I even started the show, there were people, like when the show is almost live, people can still comment. And before I even pressed live, I commented on a few things. And I'm not going to go all the way back up there, but like one of them was like, if UConn doesn't, if Solo Ball doesn't make 7 threes tonight, UConn gets beat tonight. It's like, okay. I think my comment was, if Steph Curry isn't the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, LeBron James is the go to basketball. Like it doesn't matter. It's like what are we talking about? Like there's so many people who do stupid stuff like that say it's the dumbest take of all time.
Yeah. Well, I hate that. If he doesn't make those shots, the whole game is different. But like if UConn doesn't get 25 turnovers, the game is different. You can't just
If UConn doesn't play gritty defense for 40 minutes, then they don't win either. Yeah. But they did. So suck it.
On the road. Like that's the thing. It's so crazy. It's like this wasn't at Stores. Like
there's no woulda, coulda, shoulda after this one tonight. This was a convincing win by UConn clearly was the better team tonight.
This may not be the most politically correct thing to say, and we're not going to get canceled by this, but I will say that an uncle of mine used to say, if the queen had balls, she'd be king. Like just because you like there are these what if moments, like what if? Who cares? Yeah, what if what if I was 6'8"? I was in the chat with Dan and Tyler. If I was 6'8", I'd be on you. I would be a UConn alum and probably played basketball for them. I'm 5'11", and my 38-inch vertical leap when I was 19 didn't really do me any good at 5'11" as a white boy, right? So sorry, that's just is what it is. We have 2 more people waiting. Let's go to OK and then Steve to close us out. Let's go.
All right, guys. Mark, you said that you weren't drunk enough for this night, but
no, not even close.
I pulled up to this game with my fiance, and we were up 10. I said, "Oh my God, we're in for a night." And I'm glad that carried through the end. Like, we got a little close there for a minute, but we pulled it back out. Ended up being an absolutely incredible game. One, I gotta say, Stewie, shout for those threes at the beginning. That ended up being huge for us. Alex, watching that 3 go down, I'm like, okay, the streak is over. We're back. We're gonna start hitting those. Expect it next game. He's back to usual. That 3 go down, I think, is confidence builder, and we can just count on that going forward. And then, as you guys know, Solo Lover called it again, and he's the guy. Like, when we got to the second half, and those threes kept coming, I said, it's got to stop. Like, there's no way he hits another. And then he did. It literally just kept coming, and we won the game. An absolute thrill. The only thing I'd want to comment on that I'd love to hear you guys take is the turnovers. That's just an offensive issue. What can we do?
Part of having not a point guard.
That? Yeah. Well, I guess the Solo at point guard, like someone commented that earlier, the Solo at point guard could be it. Like, when Liam comes back, Solo at point guard could be a solution. But then
I
also,
I don't love that. And this is why, buddy. Like, I think for me, I liked Jay Ross and Jay Stewart, like, at the top, where they were kind of like running Solo off action and letting Alex slip and either Samson or Terrace as the 5. And then when Liam's back, when Liam comes back on Friday, you're never going to see Solo ball at the point ever again. Like, Liam is a point forward. Then as Haas, listen, we have a week now that Haas can just chill, bro. Get in the tub, get some stim, get whatever your knee is bothering you. Like, he needs to get healthy without Haas. Because if Haas can give you 25 or 28 really good minutes, this team is different. If he has to play 40 minutes, we're screwed. Because Haas is a key. Like, putting him at point guard and having his defensive ability take over for 25, 28 minutes is what you want. Even 22 minutes. Like, if you can get away with Haas only playing 22, 23 minutes, you're golden. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mark, I just texted you a photo. Are you able to pull that up?
Let me see.
For the fine folks at home?
I was going to add, I don't think the turnovers are a major issue going forward. They're like one of the lowest turnover teams in the country. I'm looking right now; they're 26th in the country, averaging 10 a game. So I think it was just kind of like an anomaly. I think it's just amazing that they won this game despite the turnovers.
It's a credit to everything else they did everywhere else, like on the court. Marquette. We had our buddy Andre from Mark. I think they had 16 in the first half. They ended up with 20.
I think a lot of those came back when both point guards were out, and they kind of gave back that lead a little bit too.
Yep.
So not having a point guard really decides on that factor. So
yeah, we had our book. Go ahead.
No, keep talking.
We had our buddy Andre, who does the Marquette podcast, on to preview the game yesterday, and he said one of the keys to the game is, like, Marquette turns people over, one of the best teams in the country at doing so. They did that and still lost by 9. Like, coming into this game, if you were to say that UConn was going to have 15 turnovers, you would probably say they would lose the game. They had 25 and they still win by 9. Like, just a convincing one.
All right, everybody, you ready for this one?
Yep.
Suck it.
Boo.
I'm sorry.
Gotta love it. Even our boy Seth Greenberg, who's been on the pod, picked Marquette. That's all right, Seth. I still love you.
Haters gonna hate. Let him doubt us, baby. Let him doubt us.
Real quick. I don't know if you guys saw the episode with Dan Dockich that I did a couple days ago. That dude's a trip. So what cracked me up about him is he was talking about game day, and all he kept saying is that girl. Oh my God. I thought someone was gonna like cancel me that day. Like he was like, oh, and that girl on game day. Good God.
He said something funny today, and they didn't react to it. It was
because they're old buddy duddies.
Weird crew.
Like, listen, couple things about that. And one thing that Dan Dockich said on the show is great, because he's been on these shows. The producers come up to these guys and say, all right, we know what you guys think about these guys. Let's have Billis kind of go this direction. Let's have Seth go this direction. Let's have Jay go this direction. Let's have Andrea go this direction. Are there authentic moments? Yes. But for the most part, these are the most scripted shows.
So dry.
And so, because as people have yelled at me about, why do you look like you're reading a teleprompter? I don't know, because I do a 30-minute solo show most of the time. So I'm trying to have notes, and like also I had a stroke, so sometimes I like lose my thoughts a little bit. So like these are things that have to happen. But on these shows, they definitely have a direction that is led to them by producers at ESPN. So it's to create conflict. And you saw it when they were talking about Dan the other day, because like, you know, I don't think Billis, you think Billis, who did the interview with Dan and Maui, really thinks that Dan like has an issue? Because he qualified it at the end. He was like, we don't need to have a national conversation about it. But so it's like he kind of like finished it with, I don't want Dan to be pissed at me. I would still want him to like ask me for an interview every once in a while, or accept an interview every once in a while. So that's what you have to learn about game day. And I thought that was a really illuminating point by Dan Dockich, because he doesn't care, because he has the online show now with Outkick. So really cool stuff. I appreciate that, Dan. Also, by the way, solo ball, 25 points, career high, 10 rebounds, another double-double, 7 of 9 for 3. A beautiful shot there from the Husky marketing, and the content creation team is unmatched at UConn. Love them. Let's get everyone back to the stage here, remove that, and get everyone there. All right, brother. Okay, we're going to drop you off and let's get Steve in here for the final word. Steve, I know you've been waiting for a while. I apologize. What you got for us, brother?
What's up, guys? Nice win tonight. Great win tonight. And it was the solar system show.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Steve, where are you calling from?
I'm in New Britain, Connecticut.
Hard hitting New Britain.
But I'm originally from Waterbury. And like I said a few months ago, last year I had the honor to meet Ken Spencer. He was at Ken Card, so I got his autograph.
Awesome, brother.
Speaking of Cam Spencer, a quote from the post-game presser. Dave Board just tweeted out, Cam Spencer's here. Andre Jackson expected 2, and Alex Karaban after the game. There was no chance we were losing with those guys here.
What'd I say?
And I want to make one point about Karaban. People said he can't drive through the hoop. I believe he can drive through, because even if he doesn't make his shot, he creates fouls and he doesn't miss on free throw line.
True. Ever since that Villanova miss, like, he's been money. So he's definitely mentally tough and got himself squared away. All right, Steve, you got anything else to say for us, brother, or no?
One more quick thing, and I think this game is the turning point for the season. They have a long to go, but I think, like Bernie said, this is the time of the year when they get hot, and I don't want to play them in March.
You definitely don't want to play them in March. Thanks, Steve. Love you, brother. Hard hitting New Britain. All right, guys, last like 2 minutes of the show, because we're coming up on 11:30 and coming up on an hour. I'm old. I need to get to bed before midnight, so I won't actually be in bed, but I'll be too jazzed up. Look, this team, you don't want to play them. They showed a graphic tonight that Marquette's a 2 seed and UConn's an 8 seed. I love Mike DeCourcy. I've had him on a different show before I was doing this. He's a really interesting guy, smart dude, really great writer. I don't know why he's doing bracketology, but hey, it pays probably, right? They're not an 8 seed. If you put them at the 8 seed, whoever the 1 seed they have to play is going to be, I'll say it, they're going to be shitting bricks. Like, I don't care if it's Duke. Maybe the only team that wouldn't probably care that it's UConn is Auburn, because they're old. Like Auburn, because I was watching, my wife is a Tennessee fan. Sorry, she's from Knoxville. So if you're a UConn women's fan, I apologize. But, you know, we watch a lot of SEC stuff in this house as well. And that Auburn team is tough. Even with John A. Broome kind of compromised right now, dude, those dudes are ballers. And they're all like, and they're not as good as UConn. So I'm not on the field of 68 nonsense that they've talked about. But I will tell you, that Auburn team is going to get to the Final Four, because they're going to be in the South and they're going to be in Atlanta. That's like a 4-hour, maybe 3-hour drive from campus. It's the same kind of deal with UConn fans. They're going to have a ton of people there. That team's getting to the Final Four. I'd be shocked if they lost. The rest of the 1 seeds, whatever. Duke, Iowa State, whatever. Bring it on. You want us to be an 8 seed? Come on now. Let's be honest. Anybody else? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Mark, let me run through the landscape of what we saw today. This is just in the top 25. Auburn gets played tough by Ole Miss. Auburn pulls through. They win by 10. Duke kicks the crap out of North Carolina. That's no longer a rivalry. Kansas State goes to Iowa State and wins by 19. Florida only scores 44 points against Tennessee without Zakai Ziegler. Houston loses in overtime to number 22 Texas Tech. USC beats Michigan State. Baylor beats Kansas, who had one of the worst downfalls in Bill Self's career, blows a 30-point lead. Number 20 beats number 14, Mississippi State. Georgia Tech beats number 21, Louisville. Vanderbilt loses by 30 to non-ranked Oklahoma. And John Calipari walks into Rupp Arena and beats Kentucky by 10.
Oh.
Nobody in this field, maybe outside of Auburn, is unbeatable.
I agree.
Nobody.
Can I tell you a quick John Calipari story? I went to see I live in Greensboro. I used to cover UNC Greensboro and SoCon, and I went to cover the game at Kentucky when one of the better teams that UNCG had. They had a couple guys that played overseas, and a guy in Isaiah. If you don't know who Isaiah Miller is, go look him up right now. He's going to be in the rising UNC, like the G League guys who are going to be like with Pat Spencer and those guys are going to be on the All-Star break. If he was a UConn guy, he'd be a legend because the dude he's like Ryan Boatwright. He's like 5'11". He's got a 50-inch vertical leap. Just go look at his highlights, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. In that game, UNCG went up 8 with about 9 minutes to go. They lost by like 4. But he blocked the shot, took it the length of the floor, and dunked on someone on Kentucky. And literally, the crowd went completely silent. It was like a funeral. There's 23,000 people there. I'm all the way up in the rafters because that's where they put the media. And I was hearing the fans going, is anyone going to guard like the guys that were making shots? Because UNCG was like a bubble team. They weren't, but people didn't know who they were. It's a mid-major. But anyway, that was a cool experience to go to Rupp. In Cal at the press conference, he saw my name and he goes, Italian in the South, huh? And I went, yeah, man. And he was like, it's tough out here. And like, that was it. Dude, Cal is a used car salesman. He's kind of a shifty dude, but he is at his heart, he's a good dude. Like, doesn't know me from anybody. He saw my name and just like had to say that to me. So I always take that experience as he's a pretty decent dude, but that's awesome, man. I love that for him. That Arkansas team is talented, but it's tough, man. I hate to say it, but it's like
they're down their best player. Boogie Flan's out for the season,
right? But it's like what Dan said in these press conferences. Like you can make big strides with NIL and portal when you get the culture right, and then you can kind of keep it going. But as soon as you don't have that kind of culture that sustains, with all the turnover, it's so hard. Like even I think Bill Self's a good coach, but this is like terrible for him. Like
they've lost their soul. They have lost their soul.
Losses. Yeah. There's no and so he's lost a big part of what made him great is like that he can keep guys there, or that you don't have to worry about guys transferring all the time and redoing the roster every 2 seconds. So that to me is the biggest thing, is like that's what makes this run so incredible from Dan Hurley. It's like it's not talked about enough. Like I don't even think it's talked about enough. Joey, go ahead. You want to say something?
Let me interrupt you. What team can put 7 players in the pros in the last 2 years and still be going for a three-peat? That some teams wouldn't even come back from that. You'd see them in 10 years probably.
Yeah, the retention is insane.
Yeah, and the development, the retention and the development. Because look at the jump from Hawkins year 1 to year 2. Look at the jump from Solo Ball year 1 to year 2. And that's the difference. We can get the good players, and now we're getting even better players. But not only are we making them even better players by developing them, and that's the best.
There's not another team in the country that is molding basketball players so quickly.
And to interrupt you one thing too, and that's why the media and that's why ESPN, because we're the new bloods, they're looking for reasons. And you see it. Dan Hurley's a monster, but he's our monster. But they want to make him out like that because they don't want us to join the party. But
it's also a good story. It's also a good story.
It's a good story, but we kicked that door and we're here and we ain't going anywhere.
Oh yeah, and Joey, like to the douchebags that Field of 68 who want to talk smack to me because our show is rising, like our toughness meters, right? I will say this: what makes me laugh about them is if Dan Hurley and these UConn Huskies make the Final Four. Do you know how much money they're going to make on their stupid freaking shows? Because people are going to hate watch. It's like the Chiefs. The Super Bowl is still going to be the highest watch game because everyone's going to want the Chiefs to lose. That's all it is. That is 100% what they're creating, and that's fine. And I asked Dan about that in the press conference, and he said, I feel like it was a roster blind spot that we didn't have a guy who could come into this roster and want all that smoke. But I asked him about Solo, and he responded and went, yeah, he's starting to feel that way. And guess what happened tonight? Mm-hmm. That's the last thing I want to say tonight. You guys can take us home because I felt so vindicated I was the last person asking that question because everyone kind of was moving, like was traveling to Milwaukee, and I wasn't. Like honestly, man, like that made me feel so good tonight that like I feel like I have the pulse of what he's thinking, and I ask him questions and he responds, and it's like, yeah, Mark, like that's actually this, and this, and that felt really good because Solo is 100% turning into a guy that he knew could do this and wants that smoke. You saw him talking to the crowd when he was making threes. I mean, come on now, this team's got more swagger, and it, as Tyler pointed out earlier, it's a big confidence boost for this team. All right, take us home, Dan. You go first.
I'm done. I'll see you Friday in stores. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go.
Freaking go.
Tyler, you got some words of wisdom for us?
Yeah, no, I got nothing else to add. I would say one thing about Solo. I think what was nice, not to open up another conversation, but the one thing I did want to add about him, obviously his shot making was insane, but it was really, really good to see him just take the ball to the hoop, and he was doing that a lot in the first half. He didn't make a single shot at the hoop, but he did get to the free throw line. So I think if we can get him going downhill, like I feel like he has a whole another level to his game that we haven't seen yet, and hopefully we see that.
Joey,
I'm trying to get another one of these basketballs. I can't confirm or deny where it's from, but how I got it. But I'm trying to get another one of these basketballs this year. So
I love it. Listen, I love you all, except for that guy that keeps messaging me on Instagram. Actually, you know what? I like him too. I said to him, "Hey, man, you keep talking to me. It's all good. I know you're lonely." So, listen, this is a great win. This has been another episode of Locked On UConn, Locked On Live with your boys here. Really appreciate everyone that jumped in. Like the show on the way out. Subscribe to the show. Subscribe to the show if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed to the show, what are you doing? Tell a friend. Have people download the audio versions. I don't even care if you listen to the audio versions. Just help a brother out. That helps us on our bottom line. This has been another episode of Locked On UConn. As always, keep those toughest meters rising, and go Huskies.
Go Huskies.